So in chapter 2, like mainly what we got from it was all the tests Strohball did and the way he talked to Bloomberg about it and how they applied the 8 tests to try to show that Jesus was real, and I guess Strohball trying to get all the facts, because he was atheist. And the tests were the intention test, the ability test, the 3 character tests, the character test, the consistency test, the bias test, the cover-up test, the corroboration test, the adverse witness test, and what were you gonna say, Franz? What do you got going on?
So on the first, in the intention test, the main point that I got was the gospel is designed to justify Christian teachings and not to just show the accurate life of Jesus. So this is basically saying, why Jesus' teachings are like something you should follow, and not just proving why he was real.
And they also said, from what I got from this was the different views. They talked about the different views and how one of the things that when we were reading was about how do we know this wasn't like a bias, going back to the bias test.
Yeah.
How do you know all these guys, it was the 4 gospels, John, Mark, Matthew, and Luke.
Yeah.
How what they get out of this. And Bloomberg even says during that stage was they had nothing financially to gain. And you remember that quote Pastor Smith said in class?
Yeah. I actually have done. So if you believe in Jesus, then you have everything to gain.
Mm-hmm.
And if you still believe in Jesus and he's not real, then you have everything to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So what I get from that is if you just send it and just believe in Jesus, then you'll benefit with a life of just wealth and everything, and just love, I guess.
No, I agree. What also Strohball was impressed by during the book was how Bloomberg's strong case. Bloomberg makes a point at the end that states that there's no substitute to faith. And what I kind of get from that was that, it's all about your faith. There's no substitute for your faith. There's no reason why you shouldn't be strong about your faith, if that makes sense. How they also said John, Mark, and Matthew and Luke had nothing to gain from this, and how they were showing their different point of views. What else did you get from it, Franz?
I think that it just everything in what the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John stood for. Matthew was a tax collector, and he had no business writing for Jesus because he had a bad life. He had a bad past, and nobody would believe him. But going back to the consistency test, it says
here I'll get the consistency test right here. I have something to say about it. The consistency test, basically what I get from the consistency test is that Strohball is finding all these things that are real and saying that Jesus is real and he does care about us and he does love us, and that he's finding all these things that he likes and he enjoys, and how do I say this? Strohball's trying to finally realizing that that he's real. You know what I mean? That he's real, but he's trying not to, I guess, believe it, but he's starting to because he's about all the facts because he's an atheist.
Yeah. And the consistency test is showing us that how all 4 gospels had a consistent idea, and they're just piggybacking off of each other. So the idea of the gospels overlapping and basically saying the same thing is kind of just debunked because Strohball goes to say in his own life, he had an interview where he was listening to a defendant's case, and he had everything that he thought that he said down on paper, but he asked someone for the recording and wrote down stuff that he missed, and that's pretty much what the
was that going back to when about the case about
in chapter 1.
The guy that he sent in jail that wasn't supposed to be in jail.
No, this was a different case, but he was
Okay.
just showing evidence how that was.
Well, speaking of that case, the one that he sent the guy in jail that wasn't supposed to be in there, he remember when they were like, oh, he thought he wanted to see him like in there, you know what I mean? Instead of getting all the facts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
so,
then he changed his mind.
Yeah, like he didn't want to believe that he was innocent, and that's the same way with Jesus and the consistency test. Like he's seeing all the facts, but he doesn't want to believe that he's real.
Yeah.
So let's see, like he doesn't want to say that he's real, but he's finding all these facts, so he's starting to believe that he's real.
Yeah.
And I mean, going to chapter 3, I felt like I was really confused on chapter 3, but what I got from it was the documentary evidence, how Stovall and Dr. Bruce Metzger, how they talked a lot about the Bible and how like the New Testimony and all that stuff. And what I got from it, because I was so confused about that chapter, was that Stovall really like it sounded like he respected Dr. Bruce.
Yeah, like
Metzger.
he was really smart. He was like a theologian, and he really like understood and like kind of listened a lot, or listened more than he did.
Yeah, so like I guess
people.
like Dr. Bruce Metzger was like showing him all these things that like he was real, and well, if you respect someone, you're gonna believe it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I got from chapter 3. But from chapter 2, it's like just showing all the tests that they did, and how he's starting to believe that he is real, but he doesn't want to believe it, or he doesn't want to think it's real.
Like he still has doubts.
Yeah, he still has doubts,
he's getting
but
there.
he's getting the facts, and he's starting to believe like somewhat that it's real. So that's what we got from chapter 2 and 3.
Yep.